Welcome to Meet the Experts, the show that introduces you to today's best and brightest thought leaders sharing information to accelerate your success in business and life. Let's get today's show started.
Welcome to Meet the Experts, the show that introduces you to the thought leaders who can impact your business, brand, and bank account. I'm Cory Mosley, your host for today's show. Joining me today is Jennifer Darling, a sales and marketing keynote speaker and the powerhouse behind Jennifer Darling Speaks. Jennifer helps CEOs and high-level professionals in the chaos of unpredictable business development by teaching them how to install a repeatable, rhythm-based system for growth. Drawing on over 20 years in sales leadership with major networks like Hearst, Comcast, NBC, and CBS, and backed by her studies in neuroscience, she's built a proven framework called the 6 Beats, which turns burnout-driven hustle into sustainable success. Jennifer, welcome to Meet the Experts.
Hello, so glad to be here today.
Yes, we are happy to have you. I just had the opportunity, the good fortune to sit through a presentation of yours that you were doing, and so many notes going on, so much note taking in here. Now, the fact of the matter is, you've spent 2 decades leading sales teams at some of the biggest networks, as I mentioned earlier, in the country. From that front row seat, what's one mistake you see over and over again that keeps businesses from creating truly predictable revenue?
I work with small businesses, medium businesses, large businesses, everybody in between. And what I see happening today, I think it's actually really changed over the last 20 years, but everybody's dealing with some decision fatigue. It just seems like a big overload. And I call it the input trap. We are all trying to stay ahead.
Yes.
We have
front
to stay
of the learning curve. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have to stay ahead of technology.
Yep.
We have to stay ahead of AI, which is like changing every 2 seconds. We have multi-generational teams.
Sure.
We have all kinds of stuff going on in our business, right? Yeah.
And then we have do it well.
Yeah. And then we have our personal lives.
That's right.
We have our own health.
That's right.
We have family issues going on. We have worldly issues going on. All this stuff is going on, that what's happening is these business owners are really getting clouded, and they're in input mode and they're not in output mode. They're struggling. They're dealing with, what decisions do I need to make right now today? And so what I have found that helps people figure that out is to create a system that's repeatable. That's, I don't want to say easy necessarily, but the simplest that could be that works based on proven methods. And I have this client who I flew out to San Jose to meet with because she was in this situation. It was like 9 months I watched her joining masterminds, coaching groups, taking every AI course in the whole world, trying to stay ahead. And what I witnessed was there was no output. There was nothing really happening in our business. So I said, let me come on out. We'll spend some intense time. We'll not take any classes. We're not going to go to any mastermind groups. We're not going to hoard any more coaches, courses, none of that stuff. And we're going to get really focused on getting stuff done. And that's what we did. And then just a couple of days, we got more done than she had in the whole last 9 months.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it's that classic in the business, on the business conversation a lot of times. And, you talk about trading hustle for rhythm. And I was getting a little sense of that from that example you were giving. Most entrepreneurs live in this constant kind of, go, go, go mode. Whoever you follow online, everyone's, hustling and grinding. What does it actually look like to slow down but still grow faster?
Yeah, well, I love to hustle. Every day I'm hustling.
That's funny hearing you sing that to those lyrics, but okay, yes.
Thank you. I think I'm
Rick Ross fan here. Okay, fantastic.
I love the hustle, but what happened to me personally is I ended up burning out from the hustle.
Sure.
And I didn't take a break from the burnout. My body decided it was going to take a break.
You were doing like a permanent hit workout in your business.
Exactly. Yeah. And eventually my body said, you're not going to do it anymore. And then I ended up just having to take a break because I was sick, not a really long break.
Right.
So what I realized by that is that we really have to take intentional breaks to help our brains kind of reset. And I think about it like, how you're taking a shower and you come up with great ideas.
Sure.
You're driving down the road, you come up with great ideas. You're about ready to go to bed, or you wake up in the middle of the night and you come up with these great ideas.
Right.
It's because you gave your brain a little break a chance to get out of the fog for a minute and actually think.
Well, it's funny when you say that people, have the conversation about, getting up early and should you be an early riser? And people ask me when I get up. And I say, well, there's two answers to that question. There's when I get up, or when I wake up and when I get up.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a gap between when I wake up and when I get up because of that exact moment, the opportunity, taking the time to think and not just grab the phone and go.
Yeah. I've watched business owners over and over. They're doing what they call burning the midnight oil.
Yeah, sure.
Right? Working from 4 a.m. to midnight, doing that every single day.
In glory, seeing it as a glorious thing to do.
But what I'm seeing from the outside is that they're really getting less productive because they're so burned out. Their brains are just not functioning at optimal levels, and they're not taking care of themselves. And, maybe they have weekend warriors where they're trying to get everything personal done on the weekend or work out or whatever, and it's just not sustainable. And then we end up in a position where, everybody's just dead tired.
And, I think a lot of people, I don't think people give the same credence to mental tiredness. People think if you're not out there jackhammering the road, that's the version of tired.
Yeah.
You've been out doing some hard labor.
Yeah.
And now you get the right to be tired, not you were on 8 Zooms.
That's right.
And, you sat in the comfort of your office all day and had virtual meetings. Well, how could you be tired? But it's really, it's a thing.
A mental exhaustion.
Yeah, correct.
My friend, he actually did a study on the amount of energy it takes to be on Zoom. And for every 1 hour on Zoom, it's 2 hours in-person energy. So somebody said to me the other day, I've been on Zoom meetings all day, 10 hours of Zoom meetings. I said, then you just worked a 20-hour day.
Wow. I'm going to remember that from now on.
Yeah, and you can say, I'm done with Zoom meetings.
I'm leaving at 2. I had 3 Zoom meetings,
I'm
full
done.
days done. Yeah,
or get on the phone. What's so wrong with the phone anymore? Let's get on the phone. You can talk to people still on the phone.
I hate when people come to Zoom meetings and they're not on camera.
And
I feel like
hate
it's a
when they do
wasted
that,
thing.
and then you're the only one on camera.
Correct. Oh, you don't want to see me, what I look like now. Well, prepare for the meeting.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't have this problem, right? So I want to talk about business development, kind of in this consensus here. One of the things that you're known for, and I've got to experience from your background, is your expertise in LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And LinkedIn, people can get LinkedIn wrong all the time in terms of what they think it is or what it's trying to be. Many times you say that it's not just a resume, it's really a 24/7 client acquisition engine. And I think that's an important distinction. What mindset shift does someone need to make to turn LinkedIn to a real revenue source?
Yeah. So I think a lot of people use LinkedIn in the wrong way. When I say a lot of people, I'm talking about business owners specifically. Yeah, LinkedIn is a job search engine for those people. But for business owners who have a large role in their own sales, what typically they will do is they will try to set it and forget it. Let me create a LinkedIn profile. Let me hire somebody to make some posts for me. When LinkedIn really is one of the biggest lead generation tools that you can use, and not just lead generation, it's really excellent for follow-up. And most of the people that I talk to do not do a great job with their follow-up system and their follow-up process. They go out and chase leads, but they don't have a follow-up system. And LinkedIn can help them create a follow-up system to build top-of-mind awareness, to build relationships, build influence, to build all of the things that would help you get customers, especially higher-end customers. But when we are treating LinkedIn like it's just this thing over here, that's the mindset shift. It's we should really be serious about LinkedIn, because where else? What other platform do you have that you can do the things and make the connections with your ideal clients than LinkedIn?
Yeah. And I think, it surprises me many times as I travel and talk to business owners, and, you do the hand raisers as you do in your audience. How many of you this, how many of you that? And when you talk about LinkedIn and really being on LinkedIn, not how many of you have a LinkedIn profile, how many of you are active on LinkedIn? You go from profile, yes, because somebody said I needed to, and then active, and then those hands start to go down there. And I think that's really interesting. But there's a mindset piece, and as I talked about neuroscience in your opening about you, now you've studied neuroscience, now not at a $79 Udemy course. We're talking about Wharton here, an institution that knows a thing or two about business and neuroscience. Bring us inside the brain for a second. How does understanding what's happening, in the brain change how professionals should approach sales, leadership, and really even their planning, particularly as we go into 2026?
Yeah. Well, in Wharton Business School, we studied the neuroscience from the business perspective, not necessarily from the medical perspective. And our brains are just such an awesome organ.
Yeah.
They create new neural pathways. They have old neural pathways. And when we are burned out, like the society we are living in now, we end up in a fight, flight, or freeze mode, and we're unable to move forward. When we have the smallest issue that comes at us, now we're reacting really quickly, and we're unable to think and be creative. And in sales, there are a couple different subjects, sales and speaking, where people seem to naturally go into a fight, flight, or freeze mode, and they want to avoid for all costs. Speak, you've heard public speaking. There's the Gallup poll research that says people would rather die than speak.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I think they forgot to ask the question, would you be okay with sales? Because I think they'd rather speak and die than do any kind of sales, right?
Sure.
So just asking people for an
Corey,
order
I'm not a
to
salesperson,
buy.
I'm a baker.
Exactly.
I own a bakery. I'm not a salesperson.
I'm not a salesperson. Yeah, but everybody is really a salesperson.
100%. For sure.
And we have to think of it like, well, sales isn't forcing something down somebody's throat.
That's correct.
Sales is the best job in the world because it is helping people to solve a challenge that they were unable to solve on their own.
That's right.
And isn't leadership kind of the same way? I mean, if you're a manager and you're forcing things down people's throats, that's one thing. But if you are a leader who's a coach and you're supporting people to come up with ideas, you're truly supporting innovation. So when we are reaction with our brains having fight, flight, or freeze, or burnout, or whatever, we stop creativity and innovation.
Yeah.
But when we release that, the world is so open to have more sales, to have better leadership conversations, to have better self-care, all of those things.
I really like that. And it leads me into this conversation about your journal. You've got this journal, book journal.
It's a hybrid.
It's
I do
a
everything hybrid. It's a little mixture of everything.
Yeah, I like it. I don't want to leave anything. I don't want to miss any opportunities there. So this journal is say yes, then figure it out. A classic, example that people are told in business, right? You say yes, then you figure the business out.
Yeah.
Can you do that? Sure, I can. I don't know. We'll do it.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk offline about some of those stories there. What's the biggest limiting belief that you see high-level leaders clinging to, right?
Yeah.
And from the standpoint of how do they tune it out so they can find their confidence and scale their business?
Yeah. Anytime you are up to a new challenge, your brain is an inner critic. And it gives you all of the 1,000 reasons why you cannot do something.
Sure.
It's just a natural part, going back to the brain. So when we say yes to something, we're actually putting our brain in a different mode just by the action of saying yes.
Yeah.
And then we start to find the tools and the evidence to help us get the thing done that we wanted to do. Whenever I was in television sales and I was a sales manager, the station I worked at, we got the preseason Oakland Raiders games to sell advertising into. I had never sold Raiders. I had never sold preseason football. I watched plenty of football, so at least I had that going on. But my boss said, I want you to create a campaign for your salespeople to get them excited about selling this. And I said, I can't do that. And he's like, well, yeah, you can. Just figure it out. And I'm like, no, I can't do that. And I was miserable. I was so stressed out. And I didn't think I could do it. And finally, I just started putting the pieces together because I had to do it. It was my job.
Right.
And I didn't get any direction. But eventually, I just let it go and said, all right, I'm going to need to figure this out. And I put piece after piece after piece together and created this really amazing thing. It all came together. And we ended up having a banner get out the gate year on selling the Oakland Raiders preseason football.
Phenomenal. It's just a matter of having the right mindset sometimes. We're just about out of time, Jennifer, but I wanted to make sure we talked about this ultimate set list for high performance business growth.
Yep.
Can you quickly, we probably got about a minute left, can you walk us through what that is and ultimately why every CEO or business owner who's tired of guessing needs to hear this?
Yeah. People need to increase their sales. These CEOs sales has to be a major focus. And what I figured out was there were 6 pieces that you need to focus on to get you there. So as we're moving into a new year, these are the 6 things. Number 1, digital presence. If you're in B2B or corporations, that's LinkedIn, digital presence, focus on that. Number 2 is speaking. We have to have more voices in the world. We need more people on screens, stages, boardrooms, giving their opinions, advice, thought leadership.
That's right.
Sales processes, sales systems, a focus on sales, referrals, not just going out and asking for referrals, but really having a great strategy that's going to nurture your referrals is a big one. Annual planning, writing out an annual plan. We did that always in corporate, but for some reason you get outside of that and people don't sit down and take the time to do that. And the last set is mindset. The thing is, we can do all of those things and we can have KPIs and whatever, but eventually people start to get stuck. And then we figure out the last key component is your mindset, your self-care, your well-being, your being, your thinking about saying yes. The mindset piece is a really big one that we have to get past.
Wow, phenomenal. We are going to leave it there. Whew, time goes by so fast. Jennifer Darling, thank you for joining us today. You are a true expert.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. For more information on the services that Jennifer Darling provides, including her signature program, The Ultimate Set List for High Performance Business Growth, visit jenniferdarlingspeaks.com or connect directly at jennifer@jenniferdarlingspeaks.com. This has been another episode of Meet the Experts, the show that introduces you to the thought leaders who can impact your business, brand, and bank account. I'm Cory Mosley, and I will see you next time.
Thanks for watching Meet the Experts, an exclusive interview series produced by Thought Leadership Studios.